So basically, it seems that you cannot go a day without, some kind of WWE news or Warner Brothers Discovery news, you know, being talked about. But this is one of those days where basically you could talk about both at the same time because it seems that according to some people in a recent podcast, WBD seems to be interested in WWE programming. In fact, you can see it right there. I don't know how well you could read that since I got to get some more ink. But yeah, basically, it seems that Warner Brothers Discovery might be interested in acquiring some of that WWE pie, as one person indicates in this article. Because this is what the article says, and I quote: "The SI Media with Jimmy Taranin, which is SI Sports Illustrated, featured an interview with James Andrew Miller, an author, reporter, and podcast host. Miller was also executive vice president of original programming for USA and previously worked for the Washington Post. Miller discussed his first WrestleMania experience and mentioned that Warner Bros. Discovery had expressed interest in producing WWE content. And that's kind of interesting since, right now they're currently, happy and, TBS and TNT are homes to both, Dynamite and Rampage and potentially in the next few months, Collision on TNT. But we continue on with the article, and I quote, "Regarding WBD's interest in WWE, Miller replied," and I quote, this is James Miller. This is what he said, and I quote, "I think so. I wouldn't be surprised, despite the fact that money is such an issue for them, I wouldn't be surprised if Warner Bros. Discovery wouldn't like a slice of that WWE pie." Now, and that's unquote right there. Now, the article goes on to say that Miller continued by speculating that WBD might move Raw off of Mondays so as to not clash with other sporting events. Traina brought up the fact that WBD already broadcast AEW, and he inquired as to whether they would like to add WWE to the current AEW programming or whether WWE would take the place of AEW. Now, that's a good question. Now, for some people that might think, oh, does that mean we'll get, cross-promotion superstars from both promotions showing up on the different shows? No. Mainly the cross-promotion would be, and the adding of the programming would be advertisement. Like if you're watching Dynamite, like last night you're watching Dynamite, and for the commercials you'd get, an advertisement for, here's what is upcoming on Friday nights on SmackDown on TBS. You get that. Or you get something like, here's what to look forward to on Tuesday nights, on Tuesday Night Raw, or on TNT. That's what you would get. Same with, the programming. You go to commercial on Raw or SmackDown, you get an advertisement for tune in Wednesday for Dynamite, tune in Fridays, or stay tuned up next after SmackDown for Rampage. That's what you would get. Or tune in this Saturday night for Collision. That's what you would get. That's the kind of cross-promoting, and adding to AEW programming that they're pretty much alluding to. Now, the other thing that he brought up and was asking Miller is whether WWE would actually take the place of AEW. And I know a lot of fans do not want to even think about that. I know that some of the wrestlers, and even Tony Khan himself, do not want to think of the possibility that AEW could basically be, I guess you could say, ECW, if you will. They can basically get spiked. They can get TNT'd. Oh, not TNT, but they can get spiked and TNN'd, if you will. Because we all remember when TNN, when they were still the Nashville network and then the national network, they brought ECW on just as a guinea pig to see if people would actually like to see wrestling on their network, and it proved to be a success, which is why they reached out and made the deal with WWE. And with this being brought up as something that could happen if WBD gets interested in WWE, that is something I guarantee you that nobody at All Elite Wrestling, including Tony Khan and the fans, not just the hardcore diehard AEW fans, but the fans in general, do not want to think about. They do not want to think about the fact that AEW could get ECW. They could get spiked. They can get TNN'd, if you will. They do not want to think that. because of the fact that we need this second alternative that is AEW when it comes to sports entertainment professional wrestling. And I do agree that WWE taking their place would be bad. It would be bad for them, and all the backstage drama they're currently dealing with right now would not look good at any potential investors to want to bring them onto their networks, as their new home, to make part of the new programming and make their network AEW's new home, essentially. Now, continuing on, here was Miller's answer to those questions, those things that Traina brought up. Here's Miller's answer, and I quote, "I don't know, but I know there are people at Warner Brothers who are interested in WWE." Unquote. Now, the article concludes by saying, in the coming months, negotiations for a new TV deal will begin between WWE and AEW. All indications point to WBD, Warner Bros. Discovery, being satisfied with AEW, and there have been numerous rumors suggesting that WBD will add another 2-hour AEW show on Saturday night, which is, those rumors have been pretty much confirmed already, if not officially, by Tony Khan, and that's going to happen on June 17th with Collision. There is no indication that Warner Brothers, Discovery, and WWE have talked, but that doesn't mean they won't, apparently, when it comes to the TV rights deals starting next month, because next month is when the TV rights, media deals, and everything negotiations take place, and that's when, apparently, Tony Khan is expected to make the announcement, that, Collision is coming on June 17th on Saturdays, on Saturday nights on TNT, and basically maybe reveal that CM Punk is going to be the focal point. He'll be the main star. But this is quite interesting. Yet, are people doubtful that Warner Brothers would even take a chance on bringing WWE in, knowing the conflict that it could cause with Tony Khan and AEW? Would they take that chance? Maybe not. Maybe not. We're not sure. I mean, if they want more additional programming to add to the restructuring of the company and everything, then, competition and rivalries be damned. If they want the best audience, they want the most eyes on their networks, they'll do what they got to do. They will make deals, with people, with companies, with shows that normally you wouldn't think would be airing side by side with shows they once went against. So, again, I don't know. I don't know whether or not they would. Right now, a lot of people are doubtful they would, because there's no way NBC or Fox would want to let WWE go, especially with this Endeavor deal, which is going to really blow up, in a positive way, for not only WWE, not only for the talent, despite what people may say and report, but it's going to blow up in a positive way for the networks because, hey, this is Endeavor, the parent company of UFC. If they can help the UFC get to to the level that they're at, if you will, then there's no doubt they can do the same for WWE, and that, in the long run, is positive for networks like USA and Fox. But here's the thing. Can I come out here and say that I wouldn't put it past Warner Bros. Discovery and David Zaslav and Kathleen Finch to talk to Vince McMahon, to talk to Nick Khan, that, to get something going maybe? No, I wouldn't put it past them. Because again, more programming, especially programming people will watch and are known to watch, programming that doesn't take an off season, always a new episode every week, just like they currently have with AEW. If they can get more of that, then who are they to not try to put out the best deal? Who are they not to put out the best deal? Now, what would be crazy is if Tony Khan sees this happening, I wouldn't put it past Tony Khan to go over to NBC Universal and to Fox and say, hey, since my partners at the WBD are negotiating to take WWE away from you, why don't we work out a deal where you guys can take AEW away from them? And who knows, that might happen. For all we know, when it's all said and done with these deals, Raw can end up on Monday or Tuesday nights on TBS, SmackDown on TNT on Friday nights, and then in a weird exchange, Dynamite on Wednesday nights on USA Network and Collision on Friday nights or Saturday nights on Fox. With a few exceptions here and there due to certain sporting seasons. But that could happen. That could potentially happen. We're in a crazy time right now where we didn't think, WWE would get sold off, and yet here we are. We didn't think Vince McMahon would actually not willingly, but actually kind of step away, not too much, but step away, put the creative control and everything into a single-law's hands. We didn't think these days were going to come. We didn't think, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, we were going to get another major alternative wrestling company to compete with WWE like WCW did on the same networks that WCW was on. But yet, here we are. Here we are. So I would not put it past, David Zassoff or Kathleen Finch to maybe consider negotiating some kind of deal or talking up some kind of deal, doing these TV rights, conferences and meetings and all that starting next month to basically bring WWE over. I would not be surprised. And, in exchange, I would not be surprised if Tony Khan, gets word about this and he's like, you know what? They want to replace us with WWE. We're going to go to WWE's television partners and have them, replace WWE with us. And again, that would be crazy. Like, TBS, they get Raw on Tuesday or Monday nights and SmackDown on Fridays. And then in exchange, USA gets Dynamite on Wednesdays and Collision on Fridays or Saturdays. What a crazy, I would not be surprised if that happens. I would not be. But this is a situation right now where it's just hearsay, naysay, if you will. Like, it's just speculation. Because this guy doesn't even know whether or not there's any truth to it. All he knows is what he's heard. But could what he heard become a reality? That's the question. That's the question. Could it become a reality? Absolutely. Absolutely. But again, the only reason they do it is to basically get more eyes on their networks. And hey, they might work out some kind of deal where they basically have both AEW and WWE under their umbrella. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. Because historically, let's not also forget this. As I check something here on my time. Okay, because only if you do 14 minutes, 4 seconds in 4K. But let's think about this too. In closing, let's not forget, for a brief period in the 1980s, WWE was on TBS. They were. As Championship Wrestling. They were. Let's not forget that. Some of you may be too young to know that, but it happened. And in this crazy world nowadays, strangely, it might happen again. But on both TBS and TNT. So I wouldn't put it past anything of that gesture, anything of that liking of not occurring. But right now, it's just mere speculation. It's just mere hearsay. But what are your guys' thoughts? What are your thoughts on this, discussion, this talk, if you will? Warner Bros. Discovery being interested in WWE and maybe wanting to bring that programming over? What do you think Tony Khan's thoughts would be if that happened? Do you think he'll want to talk to, USA and Fox? Let me know. Comment down below. Live chat down in the mirror. And I will talk to you all later, but give me your thoughts. Love to hear from each and every one of you on this.